You're not afraid of setting boundaries, you're afraid of what happens after. You've heard it before. People who set boundaries, they're difficult. You know what? You're not wrong, but I'm going to tell you something that most people won't say. If it does feel difficult, it's because you're doing it wrong. Setting the boundary, that's not really the problem. And boundaries themselves aren't the problem. It's the way you've been taught to set them. It actually works against your authority. Instead of me just telling you to set boundaries, let's unpack why they're backfiring and how to do it in a way that actually positions you as a leader. Today, we're going to talk about boundaries, but not the surface level version, okay? We're going to talk about the version that actually changes how people see you. The woman who says no, oh yeah, she's not collaborative. The woman who pushes back, whoo, she is intense. The woman who protects her time, she is just so hard to work with, right? Meanwhile, men are doing the same thing. And it's seen as being decisive or leadership material. So when you hesitate, it's not insecurity, it's pattern recognition. You know what's exhausting? Feeling like you always have to prove yourself at work. It's like be smarter, be louder, be more visible. Meanwhile, your actual value, it gets lost in the performance of it all. So here's the real question. Are people recognizing your brilliance or just rewarding your ability to stay on? Take the visibility versus value quiz and find out. And this is where most advice gets it wrong. They tell you just be more confident. But this isn't a confidence problem. It's a positioning problem. Let me explain. Because in corporate environments, people don't just respond to what you do, they respond to what they think your role is. Same boundary, but different interpretation. You picking up what I'm putting down? Based on how you've trained people to see you. I used to say yes to everything, not because I wanted to, but because I thought that's what made me valuable. Hey, do you mind looking at this project over the weekend? I know it's Friday at 2 p.m., but can you look at this project? I really like to have your eyes on it. Me, oh man, yeah, that'll be that'd be good visibility. It'll be nice to have my hat in the ring, to be seen as a leader. Sure. Hey, Sophia, do you have a quick second? I put together this deck. I know you've worked on it before. I would love to just bounce some ideas off of you. I said yes. And come on, you would say yes too, right? Because you want to be seen as a team player. And what did I do? I said, you know what? I'll say yes to this, but I'll just get my work done. I know it's after 5. I'll log on afterwards to get all my work done because if the team wins, I win. There's no I in team, right? But I was actually being seen as the reliable one, not necessarily the leader. I was seen as the glue, the responsive one, the one who always picks up, the one who always figures it out. And it worked for a little bit, but I wasn't seen as a leader. I was seen as a doer. I was being seen as support. And the moment I started setting boundaries, the feedback, it changed. Let me be honest, the feedback changed. And it wasn't always positive, but I wasn't invisible anymore. So let's break down why boundaries get labeled as difficult. Boundaries, they disrupt the expectations. If you've always been seen as available, your boundary, it feels like resistance. Ooh, this isn't normal for you. The second thing is over-functioning, overdoing it. It creates dependency. When you do the most, people start expecting the most. So when you stop, it doesn't feel like balance to them. It feels like loss. And third, there's a perception gap. I told you they have a name for everything. When women get labeled for behaviors that men get promoted for. So no, this isn't all in your head. We're going to shift, okay? Stop trying to be light and start trying to be clear. Because leaders are measured by how agreeable they are. They're measured by clarity. They're measured by priorities. They're measured by decisions. And that sits a little differently, right? I want you to practice. I want us to make this usable. And in fact, I, I want us just to take a beat and just think about why boundaries are important. Often we set boundaries at a position of defense. I am so sick of working on weekends. I'm never doing it again. Or I'm so tired of working late. I'm just telling everyone I'm not doing it again, right? But boundaries, instead of seeing it as a hard line, I want you to see it as a circle. You are drawing a circle around those things that are near and dear to you. My sleep, my time off, my time away from the screen, the person who I am outside the office, the Sophia that plays pickleball, the Sophia that is present at dinner time, the Sophia who is rested and laughs. I am creating this boundary to protect that version of Sophia, that version of myself. So that's what the boundary is, okay? I just want to make sure we level set on what it is. Because if we're looking at boundaries from a defense mode, you might be seen as difficult. So boundaries aren't, I don't want you to say, look, I can't do that right now. I want you to try this instead. You're going to say, you know what, given my current priorities, how would you like me to sequence this? Right? So instead of, ooh, that is not my job, you're going to say, ooh, can we clarify ownership so I can focus on priority X project? And how about this? Instead of over explaining, just say, here's what I can commit to. I know you want 10 slides. Here's what I can commit to 2 slides by 5 p.m. And then you pause and you wait. You are setting up yourself to be strategic. You are redirecting strategically. And here's the part that most people miss. The goal isn't to avoid being seen as difficult. It's to make sure that when you are, it's associated with standards. You know, a client once told me, I set boundaries and everything got tense. And I, you know what I told her? You know, tension doesn't mean that something is wrong. Sometimes it means something finally changed. So this week, I want you to try this. Notice when you say yes automatically and where you say yes automatically, and replace just one phrase with a strategic boundary. We're going to normalize this shift. You don't need to do everything. One shift is enough to start. You're not exhausted because you can't handle it. Mm-mm. You're exhausted because you learned that being easy to work with was safer than being seen as a leader. So I want to leave you with this. What's one boundary that you could set today before the end of the day? Today, I'll give you a little time, a little wiggle room this week that will protect your time, will protect your energy, will protect your best self, the one that we talked about in that circle. What's one boundary that you've been avoiding? And if you've been avoiding it, take a beat to truly think about what that avoidance has been costing you. A big boundary for me is to get adequate sleep, because I know when I'm not well rested, I wish there was a word. I know there's a word for being hangry. I wish there was a word for being sleep deprived. You know, I will over caffeinate, but then I'm snapping at people. I'm sharp, I'm short, I'm direct. So protecting my sleep is really critical. And I know that if I don't protect my sleep, my team gets to see the worst side of me. I know that I don't have the clarity, like to think truly strategically about what I'm doing. I just get caught in doer mode, like check off the to-do list, check this off, check this off. Look, you can set a boundary. You just have to look in the mirror and really assess, why have I been avoiding this? What am I trying to protect? Think about that circle, and why have I been avoiding it? And next week, we're going to talk about stress that you should actually tolerate to help you grow, because all stress is not bad. So find that one next, because this is what's going to help you level up and lead yourself differently.